Allô, Nissan? Hey, grosse tempête, hein?
Hey, Karine, oui, je sais, les vilains bonhommes de neige sont de retour.
Mais avec le Nissan Rogue à traction intégrale, c'est pas stressant.
Exact, il est conçu et testé pour nos hivers. Oh, Karine, il y a un bonhomme dans le Rogue.
Ah, c'est correct. J'ai allumé les sièges chauffants.
Ah, bien joué, Karine. Maîtrisez toutes les conditions. Louez le Rogue S 2026 à partir de 0,4% jusqu'à 36 mois, incluant une réduction fidélité de 0,5% pour les clients Nissan admissibles. Jusqu'au 2 mars, sur approbation de crédit, les conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
All right, welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Let's talk about online gaming, online gambling. Loto-Québec has launched a new mobile app, gaming app, and the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition is concerned that the government is expanding on online gaming before establishing proper regulations. Coalition is calling for creation of an independent regulatory body to oversee responsible gaming, including promotions, advertising, and the integrity of online gambling platforms. Let's go to Ariane Gauthier, a spokesperson for the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition. Ariane, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
First things first, I want to talk about the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition. Who makes up this coalition? I think it has to do with some companies that are involved in gambling, right? So let's just talk about that first, where you're coming from.
So Quebec Online Gaming Coalition brings together 8 companies among the most important players in the online gaming industry around the world. So they're well-established organizations that have activities in over 100 countries around the world.
Gotcha.
So
are we talking about companies like if I watched a hockey game in the last couple of years, I would see advertising for these companies probably on the ice or somewhere?
Yes, most probably, because all our members are licensed company that offers services in Ontario.
Gotcha. Okay, so what's the issue here with Loto-Québec having a new app to offer? I think it's this new app, maybe we could tell people what it does. It's like casino games?
Yeah, so it seems that it brings together all Loto-Québec's offering online. So I'll let probably Loto-Québec explain exactly what it does. I don't want to talk for them. So so we totally understand.
So if I just because I'm looking at their website, because you're right, I'll let Loto-Québec explain it. They're basically saying it's casino games and lotteries in your hand, right?
Yep.
When they're talking about this new application. So I guess is the issue here that you'd prefer to be the ones providing the gambling options and not leaving it just to the government?
Well, the issue is that the regulatory framework for gaming was put in place at a time when you had to take your car, cross the Jacques-Cartier Bridge to go to the casino physically. Yeah. Now the game is on internet, and it's true for Loto-Québec, and it's true for private platforms. However, the regulatory framework predate internet, so the rules are not adapted. And quite frankly, a monopoly on internet, it's quite obsolete.
Okay, so with that in mind, right, let's look at how they handle it in Ontario, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. In Ontario now, they have that sort of regulatory framework, and they allow pretty much any company to run an online experience if they abide by those rules?
There are strict rules. It's not anybody that can enter Ontarian market.
Okay.
So there's audit. There's you have to get a license. You have to comply with responsible gaming rules in Ontario. You have to show that your financials are clean. So yes, there's a pretty tight screening. Yeah. And when you comply to all the regulation in Ontario, then you can get a license to offer your services, online gaming, in Ontario.
Would you like that same type of system? Maybe it's from a different province that you think is the model. You'd like a system similar to that to come to Quebec?
Yes, I think it makes total sense. And the idea is to have an independent organization applying the same rules to both Loto-Québec and the private player. So the responsible gaming environment is broader. It's not only when you play with Loto-Québec that you have a coherent rules.
What do you say to someone that says, listen, gambling, it's no joke. It's very serious. People get addicted. People can lose, money and worse because of gambling. And they want it to stay just in the hands of government. They don't want other businesses offering apps and other things in this province. What do you say to that argument?
Well, we are completely agreeing that gaming, it's not an ordinary commodities. So that's why we're asking for clear rules to do it the right way. However, let's not pretend that there's only Loto-Québec in Quebec. Yeah. Like, we had a mainstream poll 2 years ago, a little bit 2 years ago, that shows that 73% of online players were playing on private platforms. So it's already happening. All we're asking is to set rules so it's more coherent and players are better protected. And by the way, the government can earn a lot of money from it.
We're with Ariane Gauthier, spokesperson for the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition. Well, take me through that. How does the government increase revenues? If they give up their monopoly, how do they actually increase the revenues?
So the monopoly is already ineffective. So it doesn't change a thing, right? So the idea is to set clearer rules so everybody will follow the same rules. Loto-Québec and private companies. So it's better for public health. Players have more resources if they encounter difficulties. That's the public health angle. On the economic angle, if we take the example of Ontario, they entered an agreement to share 20% of revenue. That's 20% of a lot of money.
20% of revenue goes to the Ontario government now?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So even if you talk about where the head office is or whatever, the revenue sharing agreement takes effect like on direct activities in the province.
Yeah.
So there's in Ontario 20%, and in Quebec this could represent close to $300 million annually. That's a lot of money.
Additional revenue.
And we had a look in Ontario. They've been working in the open market for 2 years now. And the fact that they gave license to private platforms to operate, it didn't impact the revenue to Ontario gaming lotteries.
What do you think? Because I've heard that, by the way, I've heard that argument, but I've also heard the complaints ever since they quote unquote legalized it, or they allowed this regulatory framework to allow these businesses to come in. People are fed up with all the advertising, the nonstop, relentless gambling, and they say, you know what, that's not good overall. What do you say? What do you say to that?
Well, I think the fact that you acknowledge that private player exists allows you to set the rules, and the government has the power to decide what's enough advertising, what time should they air, what shows. So once you set the rules, the government has everything in its hand to act on this, and they started to be a little more tight in Ontario. They don't allow now hockey stars, hockey players, active or former players, to push for advertising. So now that they have something in place, they can act on it.
Food for thought. We'll think about it, Ariane. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Ariane Gauthier is a spokesperson for the Quebec Online Gaming Coalition.